Well, howdy, howdy, folks. I'm your host, Honorary Boomer, and I'm joined tonight by.
Hunter, how's it going, everybody?
Well, it's a beautiful night. We're getting ready for racing in Mexico. So, first time since
Hot and
1958.
humid.
Yeah, I'm sure
58, was that the year?
that's what I've got in my notes here. 1958 was
Okay,
the last
okay.
points paying race that was held internationally.
So I knew it was been a while for the Cup Series. I just didn't know when the last time we did it was.
Yeah, and they did a couple of exhibition races in Japan, it sounds like, but
And Australia.
yeah, but nothing points paying since
No,
since the
they were all
50s.
exhibition.
Yeah, so this is pretty interesting, and we'll get more into that at lap 2. So stay tuned, folks. Tonight's lap 10. I don't know that I have much of a story, Hunter. How about you?
Ah, like Mexican food, but I can't really say I have a story about Mexico itself.
Oh, yeah, tamales are my favorite, but nothing much to relate from here. So we'll just jump right into lap 9 then with some pretty exciting news. With Ram rejoining the Truck Series. I feel like that was probably the easiest one for them to get in on with as a manufacturer, you don't have to make your own engines for the truck series, you just have to make the body. So it looks
Exactly.
like they've got that done. Their homework is complete. They announced it at Michigan. And there are some rumors. That's where the official business ends and the rumors begin. What do we got for a rumor?
Apparently, Cletus McFarland is on his way to the Truck Series with Ram.
Now, that would be pretty exciting because if you're Ram, you're probably looking at his subscriber numbers and the amount of eyes that he brought to the ARCA series, hoping that he can bring that kind of attention to the truck series.
If you're an OEM manufacturer, it is a smart move, but I can tell you one thing, it's going to be hard to weasel Cletus to be a full-time NASCAR driver. I think he makes too much money on the side as his main job on YouTube and on the side as a track promoter and racer at his local own track. You're gonna have to drive a hard bargain to bait him to drive a full season in a NASCAR National Series.
Potentially, I suppose it depends on if it's a dream of his or not.
I
I
think
think
it is a dream of his, but it's one of them weird things. It's like I don't know how much he makes, but I'm gonna say upwards of probably $10 million off of his revenue a year. Probably more, probably maybe less. Who knows? I don't have the number. But you're talking about taking a pay cut just to go drive a car.
you look at
Hold on now.
somebody like Frankie Muniz who's kind of in that position, you know, and and you hate to say it, but look at how that turned out for him.
I
Uh,
was gonna say,
Not
look how
great.
it's going. It's not exactly the the story that he wanted, and it looks like it's being really stressful going from a truck team full time to recording full time in a show.
I'm sure it is stressful, but
So
to play the other side of that fiddle, you look at what position he's in. I mean, the team that he went with, because he's funding it basically out of pocket, whereas Cletus would probably be given this ride based on his popularity and probably even paid on top of that with the number one truck in Ram. I mean, whatever team they end up going with, there's talks of GMS Racing coming back, and that would be a good team. Honestly, I think that
while I'm
he'd
a
find a lot
fan
of
of it,
success.
while I am a fan of it and the idea of it and the thought of it, I don't know. And the big issue I have with everything is, you see how Frankie's doing this season. Maybe no, he's not in top tier equipment, but he's wrecking a lot. He's really frustrated. Do you think Cletus is going to be doing this? Oh, I avoided that crash. We're flying around here like a bald eagle. So, and all. You think
Week in
he's
and
going to
week
be
out.
doing that when he's going for 35th, running 20 laps down? Or he has a wrecked race car, or a blown engine, or the car's slow every single week? You think he's going to be having fun? There's a
You know,
real risk here that he has to go think about. He's like he has to sideline his main content on his YouTube channel, which he can probably work around that. Not saying he couldn't. Trucks don't race every single weekend of the year. Cletus could still record a lot. Haley Deegan was a really big truck driver that also recorded YouTube videos.
it really just
So
has to be down there for qualifying and the race. And
yes,
most of the time for trucks, that's the same day.
yes, usually it is. So there's a thought where he could go out here and do this and also record YouTube full time, but I think he's going to have to think. I would like to see him, in my personal opinion, do a full season in the Arca National Series and then go to Ram.
Maybe. I mean, you got to look at the door that's in front of him. I really think that this would open a lot of opportunities for content too. You know, I mean,
It
a lot of the
probably
behind the
could.
scenes, people are really wondering what does it take to run a NASCAR team, and I mean, it's more than just turning left. And I really wish that somebody could tell that story to the general public, and even the interested public, I suppose, is probably who subscribe to Cletus.
Okay,
People who
I
want to learn more.
like to offer you two pieces of information here. I'd like to offer you one, a statement slash fact. 42 on YouTube is an amazing YouTuber that does storylines on the behind the scenes of NASCAR. He has great interviews with not stories, team owners, hauler drivers. He's gone through haulers, he's met up with drivers, gotten the old stories. Second, I think he has a great potential, but the issue is what if he gets rushed up and he never finishes better than like 20th? Then
You
it's
know,
like Cletus McFarland, NASCAR hero to NASCAR bust. And it can be a rough ride here. This is a great opportunity placed in front of him, yes. But this also has high wages because at the moment he's this rising star in NASCAR that old people don't get, the young people love, and and it's like if he goes up in flames on the possibility that that happens, it's gonna really look bad,
yeah,
and I
there's no
don't
coming
think
back.
anyone wants that to happen.
Fair enough.
It could just be riskier. I'm not saying it's a bad opportunity, but it's high risk, I think. It
Absolutely.
could go great. He could do great, win a truck championship, God knows, and then when Ram decides to go to Cup, guess who's the number one driver for Cup? I'm not saying that that wouldn't happen, but it could go up in flames.
Yeah, no, definitely high risk, high reward type of setup there. I mean,
Yeah.
um, I do think that we need to get Corey Heim out of the Truck Series. I think that
Yes.
he is just playing on easy mode right now. We need to get him promoted so that it's not.
Realistically, I think he's going to take over Riley Herbst right at the end of the year, or Bubba Wallace's. I I don't think it'll be Bubba's. To be honest with you, I think they'll keep Bubba and replace Herbst. Send Herbst back down to Xfinity, where he'll probably find a route, or maybe even trucks like Daniel Hamrick has done.
Let's switch gears here and we'll go down. Actually, I'll move if you're following along, Hunter. I'll move the lap
Alright, check
6 to be
Snapchat.
in lap 8 actually,
Lap
because that
6 to being lap 8.
so we're let's talk about the lawsuit because that kind of
Okay,
plays into what we were just talking about here.
okay.
So with Corey Heim maybe moving up and Riley Herbst probably moving out, um, where does that leave us with the lawsuit update? So the update says basically a federal judge agreed you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't complain about not having a charter and be treated like you have a charter the whole year. You can't say, "Oh, we might lose our sponsors and we're not getting paid as much as if we had a charter," and all these things that are so bad. But those are all theoretical things. You're not feeling any of that pain right now. So they said,
Exactly.
"Yeah, no, treat them like they don't have a charter." So NASCAR says, "So does that mean we get our money back for those races that they've been running with all 6 of those cars, where we paid them like they did have a charter?" So that's still
I would
pending,
I
but
would assume the judge would still rule in the end where they can keep that money because it wasn't ruled upon at the time.
that's the thing is it's a lot of back damages. You know, that's the way that courts often rule is like if you run my dog over and I'm so sad about it and it was found that it was entirely your fault, then you pay all of those previous damages, even though that ruling wasn't there. Or if the ruling said no, you should have had your dog on a leash, you pay for it. Then it's if I appeal it, and it could go back. So legally speaking, I think that NASCAR has a lot of ground to receive that money back. and that's money that 2311 and Front Row are desperately holding on to get through the rest of the year.
Yeah, that is true.
Not
Time
to
will tell.
mention, Love has sent an email that said, "Hey, if you guys don't have charters, we don't want to work with you because it's not guaranteed that you'll race every week." And I don't know if that was kind of provoked, where Front Row reached out and said, "Hey, can you guys send us an email that says like you won't work with us if we don't have charters?" Yeah, you bet. Sounds good. We'll send the email. Or if they were like, legit, just saying, you better have charters because
I wonder
we
if
don't
it's
want to.
Love's pressuring them to sign the deal.
Right? It could be. It could be. And I just want to say, for the record, I would love to see Loves on Aspire 71. Just saying, I know it'll never happen, but it would be pretty cool because at least they have a
I
charter.
think if it were to be the case, I think he would be a front runner. Loves and him have a good reputation.
Absolutely.
They picked up a lot of sponsorship dates when he was in that ride compared to when he's got in that ride. That could
Absolutely.
be that could be a thing for him right there.
So, I guess that's kind of where we stand with these charters is that right now they are feeling the pain that they were arguing about potentially feeling. It's not theoretical anymore. They don't have a charter. So 23, 35, 45, and the 4, the 34, and the 38 are all charterless for the rest of the season. So good luck with that. I suppose we'll move on to lap 7 then. Now this is an interesting one. Echo Park Speedway. At the end of this month, we'll be headed back to Echo Park Speedway. It's probably the number one track that SMI owns in terms of recognition and good racing. And this is essentially just one hand paying the other because Echo Park is owned by the same people that own SMI, and so they're just writing themselves a check. But and I don't figure that people are going to start calling it Echo Park Speedway. I figure people will
No,
still call it Atlanta. Like you, as somebody that's attended many races at Atlanta, are you going to start calling it Echo Park?
no. But I do defend it. I do defend this action because look back in the day when me and you were younger. What was Sonoma? Do you remember Sonoma? It was Infineon. And then before it was Infineon, it was Sears Point. Another great example, one of the most iconic examples in my opinion, Charlotte was Lowe's Motor
Lowe's
Speedway.
Motor Speedway. Yep. That's the one that I
Then,
remembered.
one of the ones that me and you and everyone in the world still does, Gateway, right?
Yeah.
You know it's not Gateway. It hasn't been Gateway in 20 years.
Right. No, it's
It is
Worldwide
Worldwide
Technology.
Technology.
Yeah.
And it's actually St. Louis International Raceway. But the Gateway name that was given to it by a company that was out that way that sponsored the track has always stuck as the main name for the racetrack.
Yeah. Well, it's
So
easy. It's one word.
exactly. So there are tracks that do have sponsorship names. Think about all the stadiums that you go to.
Absolutely. Any
Kauffman Stadium, Arrowhead Stadium.
yeah, GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium. I mean, the naming
Okay,
rights are a big thing.
exactly. So it does not surprise me that NASCAR's doing this. Will it still be Atlanta to pie all the locals? It will be. But maybe to some new people that start coming in over the next couple of years, it might be known as Echo Park Speedway to them. They might not understand it as Atlanta.
And it's technically not even in Atlanta. I mean, it's in the
No,
Atlanta metro, but Hampton, Georgia.
Hampton, Georgia.
Great track, great people. Highly recommend.
Very nice. Freight auctions.
Especially freight
Stories to come.
auctions. Shout out to Marcus.
Stories to come.
Absolutely. All
Coming
right.
weeks. We promise Atlanta week is coming. We're on our way there.
Yeah, we'll have quite the story for you by the end of the month, folks. Stay
Yeah,
tuned
we
and
stay tuned.
subscribe.
So we might not have a story this week, but I promise you, we do have a good story coming.
Did you notice that,
It's on
Hunter?
its way.
We've been gaining subscribers.
I know.
So
People apparently decided they want to listen to two racing nerds talk to each other.
I am so excited that you guys are tuned in to Tend to Go Radio. and we couldn't be more glad to have you with us here. So, all right, well, lap 6. This is the one that we moved around here. So, and this is one that's probably going to take us a little bit. NASCAR 25 update.
What do you got, Jordan?
Well, I'm going to read through some of these notes here, if I can make them bigger.
And we will stop and talk about the most interesting ones and let some of the more bland ones stop with the line or two of context.
Absolutely. So we've got a release date of late September, early October. This sounds a lot like some of the projects that I work on, where it's like, well, we just want to get it done right, and that's what they're saying here.
And that's about normal. That's about normal release time of year for a sports game too.
Well, and you look at Rockstar and GTA, they just delayed by half a year, give or take.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're still not out. Still don't know. It might get delayed again.
I think it's going to be before it actually comes out. May doesn't sound like a release time for a big video game like that.
I've always
Maybe to
said,
some people
though,
it does.
Not that their market, as far as like NASCAR's market, for everybody, May would be a good time because school just got out and you want a new video game to play over the summer. But
well,
GTA,
I do have a quick story about that real fast.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
NASCAR 14 and 15. I got in 7th and 8th grade, or 8th and 9th grade, okay, it might be swapped, respectively, at the end of my school year, because it did have a May release day. I got it release day both times.
Oh, yeah.
So there is a time in NASCAR video game history where that was the case.
I like that. I think that's the demographic that you're going for. And for the rest of us that have jobs, 9 to 5, now that we're grown, I don't care when you release it. Or, release it in the middle of winter, release it in the middle of summer, whatever.
Exactly. I'm gonna make sure I play it when it comes out, though.
For sure, yeah. But I don't know that there's necessarily, if you're open for any time, I would say try to hit that May market so that the kids that are trying to play it over the summer
that
are able
could
to.
be a plan in the future. They said, and I'll just go ahead and I'm not reading it, but I know at the bottom they said there are plans for the series for the future to change stuff.
Yeah, so we'll let me keep reading here. So they want to make sure that the game is right before they show gameplay, and that's true. They've shown a little bit of gameplay, but people are asking for more, and I figure that's probably just something that they're holding off to until it actually looks good.
Yeah, they want to make sure it's correct before they start showing it to us. They don't want to get us good and then some, like the iceberg or something on YouTube. No offense to the iceberg. I hope he's probably not listening, but if he does, don't take offense to this. Before he sees like a car bug out maybe in the background in a pack of Daytona and freaks out over it.
Right.
It's something. It's just the quality control right there is making sure that the trailer is actually acceptable to look at. And of course, if there's gameplay issues, they're beta testing it or alpha testing it every day. I bet.
Absolutely.
Hours. There's probably someone at the office playing it right now as we speak.
This is the same reason that Dollar General doesn't care, and Costco won't let you in before a certain time, right? Because
Exactly.
Costco wants to make sure that everything's buttoned up and clean, and the aisles are clear, and you're able to get through, and so that's why they have a very limited time window as to when you're allowed to be there versus when their employees are there. Their employees are there several hours before they open and several hours after they close to tidy up the store, get things ready. But
Dollar General hollers at you from the back. Y'all don't mind the mess, come right on in. As
Exactly.
half the aisles have carts on them that are blocking half of the stuff that you actually need to buy.
And that's Activision. No, sorry, Activision. I'm just throwing you under the bus there. But most game developers, most game developers these days are more like Dollar General, where they're like, release it now, and we'll get it fixed up before they get too far into it. So
we need more Targets, less Dollar Generals when it comes to video games in this world.
Exactly. Okay, so some numbers I'll throw at you: 46 Cup drivers. So that means even the part-time guys. Yeah.
I'm going to assume anyone who was in the Daytona 500. I think the Daytona 500 entry list was 46 this year, was it not?
You know what? That sounds about right. I think it was probably 43 or 4, or maybe they added a couple of people.
It was 44 because there was a 41 car field or something like that.
Yeah, so I feel
41
like
41 car field because of Elio.
They might have added somebody like Catherine Legg in, that was
Catherine
not
Legg,
in the.
Jesse Love,
Yeah, Corey Haim.
and probably Austin Hill, maybe Corey Haim,
Corey Haim was pretty late,
maybe,
to be honest. Like they added him
mm,
in a couple weeks ago.
yeah, maybe Chandler Smith. Who
Somebody
was in the
like,
62? Alfredo, right?
yeah, Fast Pasta.
Yeah, Fast Pasta will make it. I know the 62 will be in there.
Yeah, hopefully. I
And
mean,
Jimmy.
yeah, Jimmy Johnson's in there for sure. Some of those people though, like this weekend, Ryan Truex Jr. Yeah, Connor Zilic, probably. You know, that was Coda was pretty early on, but it's
Yeah,
like some
Zilch
of those
probably.
one
Ryan
offs.
Truex, no.
Yeah, Ryan Truex definitely no, definitely
Those guys who were going to do the the V8 supercars that are coming over here for the Chicago race, no.
probably not.
Yeah, you won't see those types
So
of guys in the game.
46 Cup drivers. I'm just happy to have any of the part time guys make it in and gal.
That is nice. That does show attention, but I'm waiting for the ARCA detail later.
Yeah. So check this out: 42 Xfinity drivers, 43
That's
truck
nice.
drivers,
That's a lot of part
56
timers.
56 ARCA drivers. You know how many
Exactly.
studios would sit down and go, "Oh, these ARCA drivers, they aren't very popular, are they? I mean, I can't just buy their hoodie or jacket or whatever." And not want to put them in and be like, we don't need all those names and paint schemes and things, but it shows a dedication to the sport when you sit down and say
Exactly.
we need ARCA. Arguably, this makes more sense than the Heat games that had dirt in them. You know?
Yeah. This makes me very excited because people like Zachary Tinkle, Braden Laster, Brad Smith, Scott Melton, your guys, Cletus will be in this, but they're just not on this subject. Your guys who battle in and out every week just to get to the racetrack are now in a video game. Your guys who work on 9 through 5 on Monday through Friday and just race with some buddies on the side who have to somehow buy a set of tires every week. They're in the game, and that makes me very happy that you can see people online probably racing their paint schemes.
That's the thing is these developers have already said in their dev diaries that they worked with people like ARCA drivers to look at their garages and take inspiration from, you know, well, we got these what do you call those shipping containers on online auction, and then built a little roof between them because that was the cheapest. It was way cheaper than trying to build a shop. You know, it's that kind of setup that a lot of these ARCA drivers have. I mean, I've seen so many 1990s semi trucks or even dually pickup trucks with a gooseneck trailer pulling an ARCA car, you know, and they just have
Exactly.
their cousin's brother's uncle that has a print shop and made a big sticker, for the side of the trailer, and that's it. That's the setup.
I mean, you're seeing the actual guys that keep racing alive in the ARCA series, and I'm very excited that I saw 56 of them will be in the game.
That shows me a lot of attention was paid to ARCA, more than anybody I think thought was possible.
I assume that you're also going to see ARCA East and ARCA West drivers in the same files, and of course for the National Series.
Yeah, with 56, I figure there's probably going to be some that aren't all national.
I was going to say, because think about it, like races like, well, Kansas didn't pull, but what, 30 cars, didn't they?
That sounds
Was
about
it
right.
30? And of course Daytona pulled 43. So I mean, there's going to be series that pull more than others, and tracks that pull more than others. But to see the people that were racing at Nashville Fairgrounds and the race at Kevin Harvick's racetrack and the people who race at Daytona in those cars, they're in the game, and that just makes me excited, and I cannot wait to get my hands on a copy and just go run around the track in ARCA cars. That's just going to be the funnest thing ever.
So speaking of getting our hands on a copy, they're releasing it on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S. So no last gen, which tells me that they're really focused on the capabilities of the newest systems, which is awesome.
It sends beepers off in my head that I need to buy a Series S soon, which I have been planning to do this summer.
Keep an eye out for a good deal on Marketplace.
Yes, sir.
All right. So it's currently not cross-platform compatible. We won't be
I
able
will have
to play.
Xbox.
Dan and I are going to
What?
play NASCAR
What?
25, but the three of
What?
us will play NASCAR 26 together.
Wait, why not?
I don't have an Xbox S.
I thought you said you were gonna buy one.
Well, I was for the GTA 5, but
But if
GTA
you get it
6.
for, but if you get it for NASCAR 2, then you don't have to worry about it come GTA 6. Come on, Jordan. No,
I,
you're breaking my
I'll
heart
keep
on
an eye.
camera.
I'll keep an
You're
eye
breaking my
out.
heart on camera. You can't do this.
I'll keep an eye out for a good deal on an Xbox Series S, but
Please do,
I don't
because
know,
you've been
man.
telling me that you wanted me to play with you, and
I
now I
did.
want
Well,
you to
I
play with
thought
me.
we'll save this for victory lane. All right, moving on.
I know what I'm getting you for your wedding if you do not text me saying you found one. Mirandus is gonna have to turn a shoulder to it.
There's a good deal somewhere between here and there. So anyway, I can't listen. If I can't buy it off of the cows, I can't buy it. Um,
Well, you didn't bring the right
we
amount of
have
feed.
fun fact: South Dakota has 4 cows for every person. So
So
number one
what,
in the
8
nation.
cows for the 2 people there? You and
No,
Miranda?
number one in beef production. So low population of people, high population of beef. Go South Dakota. All right.
Off topic real fast, hold on. I just
Yeah.
want to ask, how about dairy?
Not really. No, not much for dairy.
Not really.
No,
Okay.
Wisconsin has the dairy cows. We have the beef
You
cows.
heard it. You heard it here, folks. South Dakota hates cheese.
No, we never said that. Okay, we just don't love it as much as our neighbors in Wisconsin. And by neighbors, I mean we're a couple neighbors down. But you know how it works. So anyway, they're in the neighborhood. Here's the thing: we've got no cross-platform play right now, but it is a priority in future games. So that's good. That's
Yes,
on their
it's
radar.
becoming it's a modern amenity. It will be added. It just
It's
takes time.
becoming standard. So
Yes,
let's see here. So they are gonna have paint scheme DLCs, which is really cool to hear.
that's been a thing since like NASCAR '09. That's okay. It's just paint schemes that are ran. I would assume in this case through the rest of the 2025 season. They'll be added in little packs, probably just like they were on NASCAR Heat 5 and 21. That just come in every couple months and you can buy them and it's just paint schemes for the game, and that's good. That just makes the customization and eye candy of the game more cool because you have rotating schemes.
I just hope that they aren't charging like 99 cents per scheme or like trying to batch 20 schemes together. The way that our sport is today, everybody has a new sponsor like every week, pretty much. Aside from maybe Ally and how like the Spire cars seem to rotate. Like, you're Delaware Life this week, and I'll be Delaware Life next week, and our other teammate will be Delaware Life the week after that.
Okay,
It's
you know what? I have a way around this. Battle Pass.
what is a battle pass?
You don't know what a Battle Pass is?
No,
Oh my goodness.
I'm too
You
old.
pay Fort Fortnite came out with it. Yeah,
Okay,
they were the first. It's everywhere now, but these were the first guys. Where you pay a set amount of money per either season, month, time period, length of time, different length of time for different things. And you get a set tier list or a reward list that you level through, and every list has a reward on the paid pass, and it could be paint schemes maybe.
that's not a
That could
bad
be an
thing.
idea.
That's
It,
not a
it
bad
does
thing at
work,
all.
and it's like $10 usually. That's usually what most people charge. And that would be a set thing for us to maybe get up to like 40 or 50 paint schemes maybe. And so maybe some cool customizations along the way, like custom fire suits or something. I'd be okay with some stuff like that and some paint schemes with it. Maybe a legend scheme or something, a season or something. Dale Earnhardt. Oh,
I
wait,
would
no, they
like to
won't
see
have legend
that.
drivers.
I'd like to see
I
that
just
be the
predict.
next step.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I just interfered with another slot. No legends drivers due to legal reasons.
What?
It's
No
on there,
way.
ain't it?
I don't know. Let's get
It's on
to it.
there.
Here, let's keep reading. Um, we'll have. I didn't read that. I didn't read that far in my pre-show. Um, we'll have paint schemes for DLC. Over 400 paint schemes, including the DLC. So we don't know how many of those are paid and how many are free. But I figure
We will
legal
see.
issues do play a role in getting paint schemes in. Because even though they signed a thing that says, yeah, you can put loves on your car and your fire chute and your truck and your socks and your hat, it's not always you can put loves on the car too. So some of those
Yeah,
you send them over and they're like, loves free for advertising in a video game. Yeah, where do we sign? Yeah, sounds good. And some
exactly.
they're like, what is this video game? I don't want to put my small company in a bad light or something. And you're like, what are you talking about, dude? Just sign the paper.
NASCAR. You're the
Yeah,
one who
it's
went to the
free
track and drank
advertising.
38 beers.
Yeah. So anyway, as a gold edition, which is probably what we'll end up buying because we're NASCAR fanatics.
And it'll probably be the thing that includes all the paint schemes and DLC for free.
I'm sure that's yeah. So individual,
Usually those editions are the editions that include that stuff.
yeah,
That also coming back to it, that could be a way to streamline the process of not having to buy $40, $50 worth of paint schemes. Or if they go with the Battle Pass idea, potentially, that could be a thing too. It includes it every season or whatever they decide to do.
yeah. It says has a gold edition or the ability to purchase individual paint packs. So I figure that probably lumps it all together for a
Yeah,
good deal. So that'd be nice. Paint booth
extra 20
similar
bucks.
to yeah, that's not so bad. Paint booth similar to the past, but has improvements. So I kind of figure with being on PC, there's a good chance that we'll see paint schemes that didn't legally make it into the game created out of
Get shared.
triangles, squares, and circles. You know,
Yes. It's
um,
been a thing as long as paint booths have been in NASCAR games, as people are going to find a way to customize the cars to be kind of how they were on track.
especially on PC because you have that very fine control with a mouse that
Exactly.
you just don't have with a controller. So,
Yes.
hopefully that'll be really nice. Let's see what else we got here. No regional series yet, but they're adding that in the long-term plan for future games. So hopefully the Mexico series will be in there.
It'll either be the International Series or maybe they'll add the Youth Series.
Ooh,
That's a series to think about.
that'd be kind of fun. A
Or
lot of yellows,
or
but
maybe
that'd be
they'll go
fun.
down to ARCA East and West. Wheeling Modified. We could go on for a while about this, so we'll stop here. But
Yeah. So no
there's
regional series
potential.
yet, but keep thinking. Think like Hunter.
Yes,
He's got a lot of good
there
ideas.
there is potential with a huge NASCAR ladder if an iRacing would be crazy enough to try it.
Absolutely. Um, no RAM in 25, but in NASCAR 26 it is coming. So they
And
might add
potential
it
as
into an update.
DLC later on, yes. So
Yeah.
uh
So
I could see them adding it in like halfway through the game cycle or so to kind of freshen something up because people might see the Dodge truck as like, oh, this is what I've been waiting for or something.
yeah.
It could help. So I could see them adding it in maybe January, maybe around this time of next year or something while they're waiting for the next game.
So here's the thing: if it's just a skin, I figure they could probably get it done. I don't think that these guys are doing just a skin. I think that they're looking at race data, like SMT data, and
They're going to
figuring
try to
out
duplicate
what
it.
each body does best, right? Like, okay,
Exactly.
Ford does really good at the super speedways, and Chevy does pretty good at these road courses or whatever. They're going to figure out what the individual bodies do best, and they're going to program that into the game. So I figure that's probably why they're saying we're not even looking at it for this year because we don't have any racing data. But
Amazing thing, though.
maybe we'll just copy Ford and just say, yep,
Yeah.
let's just give it the same characteristics as a Ford, which is fine
Sense of.
for a year. But
Just keep your eye out. That'll probably be in the later half of this game's life cycle.
absolutely. So this is an interesting point. I like this a lot. They know the history of NASCAR games and they want to over deliver because right now we are expecting the bottom of the barrel. You know, as long as you're better than Ignition, which is basically
I
impossible
was gonna
not to
say,
be. You know,
all that iRacing has to do is drop a reskin version of NASCAR Heat 5 with the next gen in ARCA in it.
yeah,
And
and you'll
I
be ahead.
think 99% of NASCAR fans would be satisfied. It's a lot of people have said you shouldn't be satisfied with just being content and happy with what you got. You need to want more, but it's like, have you not seen how we've been being beat up since the pandemic?
At this point, I'm just happy being happy. You know, I don't have to be
Exactly.
overjoyed.
I'm
You don't
just
have to
happy
blow me
thinking
away.
there is another game coming out, and it's by a developer that people trust.
Absolutely.
We're not looking in the dark with motorsport games like we were. We're like, oh my god, I hope this is good. This is a company that I think, I wouldn't say get your hopes up. This is going to be the best thing ever. This is NASCAR Thunder 2004 level great game. You're going
I'll
to play
say
this
that.
until. Yeah, no, please don't.
No, I know. You know, set your expectations, but it's
Yeah,
going to
but
be better than
I,
Ignition.
I
And
think you could be almost looking at games like NASCAR '09 with these guys. Games that you actually enjoy coming home after your day at work, kicking back and playing. The online side might not be that good in the first year or two until they get something figured out over there. That's probably not their priority right now. But their career mode and stuff, that's probably going to be something that actually keeps you returning to the game for at least a few months before people
we
start seeing it as stale.
we desperately need, as somebody who really likes first single player games, we need
Yes.
single player games. Just focus on the
Yes.
single player, send that out,
Yes.
and if you can, fix multiplayer later, then fix it. And don't.
Mhm.
I wouldn't put a whole lot of stock into multiplayer right now. I get it. A lot of people
Whilst
like it.
me, yeah, yeah, whilst me, Isaac, Jordan, and Dan will be seen playing the online side of things in the future, probably. We probably will record something and upload it on YouTube. There's also the ability to just go, career mode's fun too.
Absolutely.
That's what matters at the end of the day. Career mode is fun. And if career mode keeps you excited and keeps you coming back to the game, then I think we spend our money well when it comes time for the game to release.
So with all that said about this game, they did say in here it's not just iRacing for console. So they're doing
Yes.
more than just iRacing, which iRacing is really just the racing side of things. There's no story to it. There's no
I was gonna say, iRacing is, while great, if they put iRacing just on console and expected me, you, Isaac, and Dan to go play on controllers, you're not gonna have fun.
it's gonna be rough.
Yeah, iRacing's ability here and their goal is to be able to provide a game that me, you, and all of our buddies can sit on our couch or in our chair, in our den, or on our bed or whatever, and play a game with our controller. But they also want to be able to go, hey, these guys want a sim league. Let's make sure they can use their wheels and have a proper experience too.
Yeah, that's coming up.
And
So
and
yeah.
yeah,
So the physics are not the same as iRacing, but the damage is very similar. However, if you
the,
don't like realistic damage, you can do visual only damage, which is nice for people who are just getting into it, kids, that kind of stuff.
now I will say if it's like the iRacing damage model, it's going to be pretty sensitive playing on the realistic setting. I mean, if it's 1-to-1, a good tap against a wall, if you get high coming out of a fast corner, will mess up the rest of your race. You'll have some steering mess up where you maybe have to steer harder or get slower in the corner or something. You'll break a toe link pretty easily. I will say, if it's the realistic model like what I had on iRacing when I played from my experiences with the game, go ahead and get ready. You're gonna get your heart broken probably a couple times in career mode.
We'll see how it goes. But yeah, hopefully there's something in the middle there where it's not just all or nothing damage.
Yeah, hopefully there's a set standard.
Okay, so they do have full wheel support and
Yes,
all the
which is kosher
tracks.
in
Yeah,
games.
yeah. I wonder if they'll limit those people from playing with controller people. I know that other like
Uh,
Call of Duty comes to
no,
mind.
but usually in racing games, the community kind of filters themselves out and separates themselves.
Yeah,
If they add something like tags for like lobbies, open lobbies and stuff, it'll be like wheel only, controller only, wheel accepted, either accepted or something. Hopefully they'll have like tags for that, so it's easy for people to separate themselves. Because controller people are usually faster than, or not controller, wheel players are usually 99% of the time faster than controller players, and it's hard to compete with them.
absolutely. Which is why I was really hoping that you guys would be able to join with your controllers and I could join with my wheel.
Ah, Jordan, look, I've driven with you in a real car. I'm not worried about you on track. There's no
No,
blinker when you go low.
recording is so much easier on PC. I'm ready for NASCAR 26 already.
Well, that's the cool thing about next gen too. We have built-in and last gen. There's built-in capture devices,
Oh, for like a whole
and I can
game?
on PlayStation, which is I want to go to PlayStation, but Isaac plays Xbox. This is a side chat for everybody here. Sorry. Um,
Our other Tennessee friend Isaac,
yes,
does he have the newest one, the Xbox S?
he has an S, but
Okay.
he plays on Xbox. And if I got PlayStation, PlayStation has an internal audio recorder.
Oh,
Xbox doesn't unless you live stream to Twitch.
interesting. We'll figure
So
something out.
that would be the only thing. I would like PlayStation to have the internal audio because that would be so much nicer. And they have direct upload to YouTube too. But Xbox just doesn't. They just don't do that. But hey, to
Not
each
yet.
their own. I like Xbox more. I just like those convenience factors on PlayStation.
We'll send Bill Gates a letter. Okay.
Yeah, let's see if we
So
get that changed for
we'll
media
see,
reasons.
we'll see what we can do. All of the tracks, car models, and assets are directly from iRacing, which is really exciting because they put excruciating detail into these models and
Have you
assets
played
and whatnot.
iRacing?
You know, I haven't,
Okay.
except for at the track. Like at the track, they have
Okay.
those racing sims, but
Okay.
yeah, not.
What did you think of it from your little time in it, if you don't mind me asking?
I
If
really
you have a
liked it.
memory of it.
I
Okay.
do remember it. I mean, both at the track and at the Hall of Fame. And
Okay.
I've always come home thinking, I'm going to do this. I'm going to set it up. I'm going to do this. My seat that I'm in right now is on wheels, and so it's hard to
Oh,
stay stationary.
yes.
I'm hoping on the other side of this wall to be able to put together a rig, um, and permanently mount a seat to that wheel and rig and whatnot, and then just put another
Well,
monitor on that side. We'll see.
I tell you one thing, it's nice. It's a lot of fun. It is. It's a lot of fun. And if it's anything like iRacing, which this is a PC to console difference, where usually PC has more customizations. I used VR, so I had to play on low settings most of the time. Okay, so I didn't play with like a crowd usually, or if I did, it was very low. Track renderings were pretty low and everything. But I will say, the one thing that I always felt, and even though I had a G29 wheel, which is considered the low tier wheel for having vibration feedback and stuff, you could feel every bump and turn on iRacing. You felt stuff. You felt the dip at Langley coming out of 3 and 4 if you go low. You felt the bumps at Darlington. You felt when you went over the hill and you went down a little crest, you could feel the car getting light. So the detail in the game is there. So expect an immersive experience at least on track.
Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty excited about that.
You're gonna see people get caught out and wrecking stuff eventually,
So we've
and it's
also
not gonna
got
be person to person. What's up?
real life spotters. That's pretty exciting.
I would like. I say it's gonna be. What did they say? 6?
It just says real life spotters.
Oh, I thought it said a number of spotters.
You're thinking of the 6 base game difficulties.
Ah, I overread that and thought it was the spotters.
No, I mean it says several, so it could be 6, could be 28. You never know. I feel like if it was a big number, they would say which number. But working with real
Yeah,
life spotters is pretty cool. Not gonna
yeah.
lie.
Nonetheless, that is gradually a very cool thing. I guess everyone will have their own choices on that. I'd probably say there'll be a default one. Then after that, it's just who's your cup of tea? Who works best for you? Who do you like listening to when they yap at you during a race?
Right, right. I wonder if there's anybody with like a really heavy Southern accent. Dadgum coming up on your rear. He's up and down low.
But that's
Stay
the
high.
Jordan. Stop! You're leaking the Cletus DLC.
Uh, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. 6 base game difficulties with options to change stuff like the field skill spread. So that should be pretty interesting. I mean, to be able to get
NASCAR
in
Heat
there and
5 had great field spread and all that stuff. With the you could have it as either regular, stable, or loose for the cars, And then it was, for the field, it was stretched or tight or normal. And that's very cool to see.
And to explain
If
that a
they
little
can go
bit,
off, that's crazy.
yeah. So to expand on that for some people that are like, what the heck is a field spread skill? The idea there being that all of the cars that are on the track are running about the same lap time, or are there some that are like way off the pace by a second or three? That kind of stuff. Those slow cars make it more fun
Is
to
Catherine Legg being Catherine Legg this week or not?
right. Is Catherine Legg being Catherine Legg? No, it depends. I thought she did better well, we'll talk about that later. We're getting off topic. We're already 47 minutes into this episode, and we're really glad
And we're
that you
about
guys are
30
still
minutes
here.
into the NASCAR talk.
Yeah, and we're only on lap 6, you guys, so we better stay focused.
Folks, we talked about this off camera. We knew this was going to be long.
We knew it was going to be a long one, and that's why we're not on StreamYard this week. So no time limits on Riverside. Come on over to Riverside. Oh, what else do we have here for notes? No legacy drivers for legal reasons, and I figure
Yes, that's what I brought up earlier.
that's probably people like Jeff Gordon, because like some
Jeff
people
Gordon,
might say
Dale
Jimmy
Earnhardt.
Johnson, but Jimmy Johnson raced in the Daytona 500, Coke 600.
Exactly.
So
He'll probably be in the game.
I hope that he scoots around that exemption. And I wonder if this isn't something that like they put in the charter system. So when you sign to be a part of the charters, you say like, oh, by the way, we have the rights to put that name and likeness into a video game, because that would just make life so much easier for the iRacing legal team.
And they probably will in the future. That they're getting around to that. You have to think they've only had this contract a year and a half or something.
Right. Well, they've got
and they put everything together. That's what but they've had to put everything together pretty much from the ground floor. Even though they've had some assets, it's pretty much in ground floor to get to where they are now.
Absolutely. All right, so they have a 10-year plan. So that tells me they must have worked something out with NASCAR. Maybe not officially legally, but like behind the scenes, a 10-year plan tells me that they are looking for the future. They want to make their game the Madden of NASCAR, which is awesome to hear.
Scary to hear and awesome to hear.
I like that idea. I feel like because Madden's had it so long that they got relaxed. They stopped.
I was gonna say that's where it gets scary. Is I don't want iRacing to relax and push out a game that was the same exact game with updated paint schemes as last year.
Yeah,
just
but
give
how
me
long?
Something tangible every year.
How long has iRacing been working on iRacing? Like since 2003, right? I mean, like they've never really slowed down and stopped.
It even really goes back farther than that. Papyrus was making NASCAR Racing Season 2000 in 1999 and stuff.
Oh, there we go. So
and they've been working with people like Dale Jr. since like 2002 and stuff. I mean, they go back a good 20 years in NASCAR history.
That's a good sign.
William Byron, a NASCAR race winner, is off of iRacing.
Right.
That's where he got his start.
That tells you that it's pretty darn realistic.
I was going to say, there's a reason that iRacing is the game that you hear people play.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So, screenshots, driver, and track rosters are coming next month. So hopefully we'll be able to see what the game's looking like, who exactly is in it, and what tracks we're going to, because there's a lot of people that are wondering, Kansas is already in there, and ARCA races at Kansas, but are they going to go to some of like Lime Rock Park or some of the ones that the bigger series don't go to? It sounds like most of those that ARCA goes to are already in iRacing. So they have the scans. The question is, does it make the game?
I will go ahead and tell you one thing. Lime Rock Park will be in the game as it is in iRacing. I think most every track is okay. I think there might be a couple outliers that are in the ARCA East and West series if they want to use them. I don't think Kevin Harvick's racetrack in California is there. You know,
What
they
about
might
the
have
one
to
in
replace that.
Minnesota? They make it in, you figure? Starts with an E. I can't think of it.
Elko?
Elko.
I think they're in the game. I think they're already in the game. So if they are, they
Hopefully.
would probably be used.
Hopefully.
But so
All right.
there's probably a track or two I'm not thinking about. I don't have a list.
I'm kind of curious how big this game is going to be. Is this like downloading the new
Eh.
GTA? They're like 257 gigs. Like good news,
I think we could be pushing 100 gigs on release day.
gentlemen.
70 gigs is my realistic guess.
It's not going to fit on your Xbox Series S. You're going to have to get a new hard drive
I'm gonna have to get a hard drive just for
just
NASCAR.
for NASCAR. What do you want to play on the Xbox? NASCAR. Oh, I don't feel like NASCAR. That's too bad. That's all we got.
Well, that's all I got. So go ahead and get on.
Okay, so as far as career mode specific notes, they said you can start your own team working up from the ARCA series. You'll have a PR agent making choices for you. You can choose choices. I heard a little bit about that. So like you can either do some popularity stuff, like in a movie, or bond with your team, and hopefully that'll help you with better pit times and things.
Yeah, there was a note there that said it's kind of like the F1 career mode, and in the F1 career mode, you get hit with random choices that it's like, hey, you know, you have this right here. You can either A, go out to dinner in Monaco by yourself, okay? Or B, you can take the whole team with you. And if you go by yourself, you get like $50,000 in cash or something in XP. But if you take your team out, your team's morale gets boosted, and that means everything goes smoother, and you have a better chance at something. It it can be good. Didn't they mention media questions as well?
Lots of cutscenes, heavy immersion, um, no driver transfers like silly
Okay,
season.
okay. Yeah, one thing I did hear another person say that they interpreted it as it was only going to be a few per season.
Okay.
This note may be different. This is something that's up in air right here.
It
I
would
had
be kind of
heard,
cool to see, but like also confusing to see Tyler Reddick and Ford.
yeah, I was gonna say, but I've heard that there is a chance of them. It's not out the realm,
We'll see. We'll see what they got. They did say that the focus is from a driver's perspective and not from a broadcast perspective. So there's no
which makes me
TV
so much
commentary.
happier.
I'll really enjoy that. That's a stance that they're taking. So that's the career mode, but from a multiplayer perspective, they are going to have full fields in all series. So that's quite the undertaking to try to get 40 people on the same page. They are going to have private lobbies, which is great for all the trolls.
Yeah,
Keep
for
them
all of
out.
us, we'll be okay.
And AI available. So if it's just like 4 or 5 people, you can still have a full field with AI.
Isaac's internet would make the AI glitch out.
That's okay. So I figure that's pretty much all we've got for NASCAR 25.
Yeah, at the moment, until we hear an update, and when we hear an update, we'll bring it back to you because we are two NASCAR gamers, and we are looking forward to this. So we will keep you updated on this.
Certainly, we'll keep our ear out and report back when we hear more. So, all
This is
right,
something to keep an eye on.
lap 5. Hopefully, the next half of this doesn't take 55 minutes. Corey LaJoy, moving on into trucks for Spire. So he's taken over the '07 truck, and it sounded like it was a replacement for Kyle Busch.
Kyle can't run the whole season anyways in the trucks.
Yeah, isn't he only allowed to do 5?
Yes, you're only allowed to do 5.
Yeah,
So he couldn't have done the whole season anyways.
so I wonder if this was planned from the get go and they just were late getting the news out. I don't
I
know.
don't know, but I hope that 27th place finish feels good with with the 7 people in the stands.
Hey, 27th place. No, he finished top 5.
Yeah, but I don't have good feelings towards LaJoy.
Yeah, I don't really either.
I
But
feel like comments in the past have turned me against him, and I
it's
also don't see the talent that some people say he has.
Yeah, it was pretty disrespectful. But to be fair, he's come back, and not that I'm defending this. I'm just quoting what he said. That when he gave that quote, he was hangry. So, I don't know how that changes your opinion, but doesn't change mine
Yeah,
very much.
but
Um,
I was gonna say, as a NASCAR Cup Series driver, wouldn't you be media trained to kind of
you would think
know
so.
what to say,
You would think so, wouldn't you? So, I don't know.
to at least not
Emotions
make
were
a
high.
rational decision?
Yeah, emotions were high. There was a lot of stuff in the air at the time, and so I'm sure he says some things that he regrets now, especially with his dad having success in trucks, and so we'll leave that with the viewers and call that lap complete. How about that? Um, Lap 4. So now we're moving into the series. ARCA. Um, this is the third win out of 7 starts for Butterbean Queen. I'm going to say that one more time. 3 wins out of 7 starts. That's incredible.
He's just that guy.
He is.
He's a Waffle House bandit. He's stealing your trophy, then he's stealing the waffle.
if he
Bringing the
doesn't
trophy
get
to your favorite location and posting up with it. He
if he
is your worst nightmare.
if he doesn't end up with Waffle House sponsorship by the end of the year, I'm going to be very sad.
Waffle House needs to get on that. If he is to transition into trucks or Xfinity out of ARCA, if Waffle House is doing themselves a favor if they sponsor this kid.
Absolutely. I mean, think of the merch sales. I would buy some Waffle House merch. That'd
You
be
know what?
pretty
You
awesome.
want Waffle House and NASCAR to go more along than they already do? Set up pop-up Waffle Houses at NASCAR tracks.
Yo, for
Think
real.
about it. You
For
don't need
real.
many ingredients. There's
No.
only but 20 items anyways.
They could set up right in the fan zone, man.
Exactly. And with it being operational outdoor and indoor seating, they got all the food there. Oh, you're telling me a Waffle House NASCAR crossover would not slap?
No, it absolutely would. With driver appearances by Butterbean Queen at 2 o'clock. Come on by and get something signed. Yeah, that'd be pretty
Free
cool.
fist fights all night long at Talladega.
Free fist fights. Oh no,
Fight the
hopefully
cook. If
not.
you win, your meal's free.
Oh, no. All right, well, here's another stat for you. 3 out of the last 4 winners at Michigan went on to win the ARCA championship. What do you
Who's
think of
the
that?
outlier there? Do you
I
know?
don't know. I wish I
Oh,
had the statistic people that the large broadcast booths have, because that would be really interesting to see who slipped up there. I
yeah, that's
wonder
what I
if it
want to know.
wasn't. Did Corey Heim go on to win ARCA? I thought so.
No, Sawalich won last year, didn't he?
I wonder
Didn't
if
I?
that's
Wasn't
who it was. I wonder if it
So
was Corey
I
Heim.
think Heim didn't win the championship. I'm pretty sure Sawalich did last year. Could be wrong.
Um, Perez, Andres Perez,
Okay.
last year. Jesse Love the year before that. Nick Sanchez the year before that, and Ty Gibbs before that.
I know Ty Gibbs probably won Michigan. Jesse Love, what do you think? Do you think he won Michigan? I don't think Perez won Michigan.
No, he
If I'm
kind of,
throwing a shot out,
yeah, he kind of snuck out of nowhere, didn't he?
I was gonna say I don't think he won a single race all year. I think he was just the most consistent.
Right.
I think he placed third like every race that year and second a couple times. I don't think he actually won. I think he was just there every race and was right there.
Just kidding.
And
Andres Perez won at no, Connor Zilich holds off Andres Perez at Michigan
okay, so
in
so
2024. So that's the
the
outlier.
outlier is I was gonna say the outlier is Perez.
Perez.
Okay.
Yeah. So there you have it. Interesting. Otherwise, Love, Sanchez, and Gibbs all won Michigan and went on to
Yeah, I
be the
wasn't
champion.
questioning Ty Gibbs. I kind of figured he won there. I had a good feeling that Jesse Love did. I didn't know about the other. I didn't know about Sanchez.
So anyway, that was pretty interesting to me. They were saying during the broadcast that I don't remember 7 out of the last 10, a large majority of the last 10 people to lead the majority of the laps at Michigan went on to lose the race. And Butterbean broke that trend, which I thought was pretty cool too. It looked kind of rough there for a minute. I don't know if you watched the race, but
I caught a few laps.
The last like 15, there was I think it was lap 12 where Corey Heim looked like he was going to come in and take the lead, but Butterbean actually started growing the lead after that. So I don't know if he figured something out or a good way to block or what, but pretty good race. Honestly, I'd rewatch that race.
Happy for Butterbean.
Absolutely. Hopefully we can get him to say our intro sometime.
They are in Berlin Speedway this weekend, Berlin Raceway in Michigan. I think it's just an East race, but it might be a national race.
Well, speaking of Michigan, in the Truck Series, lap 3, Corey Heim sweeps the stages for the 10th race this year. That's a new record. Corey Heim needs to be stopped, okay? My watch consistently says that it's Heim time, and I refuse to believe that it's Heim time. Heim needs to win the championship and get out. He needs to go away, because when he goes to Cup, I mean, he's blowing the doors off of people who are only making 1 or 2 or 3 Cup starts. I mean, really, really good runs. You know, almost no matter where you put them. I guess it seems like they're only really doing the 1.5-mile tracks, but Corey Heim, really proud of what he's been able to do.
He's going to make a great front row motorsport driver in about 4 years.
Whoa, isn't he with Toyota?
Who said he's going to do good?
I think he's gonna. I think he's gonna do well. I think he's gonna get in the Cup and do well consistently.
We'll have to see.
You think he's gonna skip Xfinity?
That's what I think he should go do a year of. At least 1 year.
I agree 100%. But I feel like he's gonna pressure Toyota and say, "Get me the Cup or else," and Toyota's gonna stick him with Jimmy Johnson or something. And I don't know.
If he gets offered Legacy as his first team, I'd turn it down.
100%, I would too.
I think in the second half of the season, if Toyota is looking at moving him up into 2311, let's say that they keep that charter in the end or run a third car anyways, let him do some races in the second half of the season in Xfinity on consistent.
To be fair, that's what he's been doing right now is 2311 equipment.
Yeah, so we'll see.
So he swept the stages, got that for the 10th race in a row. What a disaster of a finish. Did you see that finish of trucks at Michigan?
A little bit. The big wrecks.
It was horrendous. It looked so bad for the sport. Every time, I mean, I rewatched that where Chastain was out front, and it was just a cluster mess. I mean, it looked like those bicycle races where one guy falls and then the entire field goes down with him.
Yeah.
And then people like Corey LaJoie get filtered into 5th place or 2nd place and then fail on a restart and end up in 5th. I mean, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, this is some bad news bears right here. It almost looks worse than ARCA. You know, at least ARCA knows how to do a restart, but they said it was a bad push. I wonder if it just wasn't Chastain not knowing that he was the restart, the control vehicle, and just didn't jump, and people jumped behind him and pushed him, and he got sideways and took everybody else out with him. I don't know how all that went, but there was really nowhere to go. I mean, it clogged the entire speedway and even into the grass. So you had to hear from your spotter to brake, and hope that everybody behind you brakes too.
Yeah, it's rough, but it's also a developmental series. The accidents are going to happen there.
Yeah, that's fair.
Even if they involve Cup Series drivers, that doesn't matter. The accidents are going to happen in the lower series.
Yeah. Well, you know
that's where you still make them.
What's one lower series that's it didn't race at Michigan but is racing in Mexico is Lap 2, the Xfinity Series. So looking forward to Mexico. As we mentioned in the intro, this is the first points-paying race for Cup since 1958. We saw practice today. What stood out to you, Hunter, in practice for Cup?
Xfinity. Oh, wait, we just jumped
Sorry.
to.
I figured we'd talk. Do you have Xfinity stuff to talk about?
Kinda actually. There's actually a couple storylines that have developed in the last 2 days.
Go ahead.
First off, the reason Xfinity practice was supposed to be today, if you were not aware, it was delayed because 2 of the 3 flights going to Mexico were grounded, that were full of NASCAR Xfinity drivers and teams.
I did hear
That's the
about
first
that.
thing. That's the first thing. Second thing, we have a little bit of a small development in the garage right now that may or may not get settled by the morning. Ryan Ellis, a NASCAR Xfinity Series driver, has apparently had his luggage that included all his race stuff left in Charlotte.
Well, that's not exactly a hop, skip, and a jump.
No. And they have practice tomorrow morning. So I think the team is in panic mode because it's a low budget team. They can't just drop $2,000-$3,000 on a fire suit on top of their weekend's costs. Will Ryan Ellis race, or will the team have to find a NASCAR Mexico Series driver maybe to race in the place of Ryan Ellis this weekend? More to come? Let me check Twitter as we keep talking here, and we can go on to Cup, and I will come back with an update. I want to see if anything's been posted.
So, talking about practice today for Cup, they were talking about no SMT data, which I think is awesome. I really think that SMT data needs to be locked down per team. NASCAR should be able to see all of it, but teams shouldn't be able to see other teams. That's just my opinion on it. I really think that if you figure something out that makes you faster around the track, you should be able to hold your cards close to your chest.
Well, I do have an update. The luggage has made it to the hotel in Mexico.
Woo! Well, that's good to
hear. So we do have an update. I checked that like 3 or 4 hours ago when I bought it. So I bought it up not knowing there was an update. Update, all clear. So
good deal.
Go ahead and cut that alarm out. Don't worry.
How do you feel about SMT data?
I'm odd. I think data should be shared between teams, in the sense that within teams. Roger Penske's 222 and 12 can share stuff. That's okay in my opinion, right? And technically, because they build the 21 Wood Brothers car, I guess that could be shared between them too as well, okay? If they build your chassis, I feel like they have exception. But Front Row should not, in my personal opinion, be handing over information with Penske or with Haas. Yeah, Haas. Or anybody,
Even across manufacturers. I mean,
yeah,
that doesn't make any sense at all to me. Why is Gibbs data being looked at by Front Row?
Exactly. So I think within teams it's okay. Cindric, Logano, Blaney all have right to look at each other's data. I think those teams do. They work together. They bounce off of each other. I don't think that it should be shared across past that, though. I think it should be on a lockdown note. What's private's private.
All right.
It's a big old case of this back in the day. And there's actually 2 cases. There's a case of this right now, too, where a Ferrari engineer was trading information for cash to a McLaren engineer and giving them the notes for the team of all their upgrades so they could use it themselves and beat Ferrari with their own stuff.
That's interesting.
And that turned into a $100 million fine on one person, by the way. And multiple lifetime bans from even being at the racetrack when Formula One's on grounds.
That's crazy. I mean,
yes,
believable, but crazy.
Yes, and the one now is in IndyCar. Last season, Rahal Letterman Lanigan was apparently trading data with a team that was not named, rumored to be Juncos Hollier, and they were raided by the FBI in the offseason and had all their computers seized.
Are
Now
are
nothing
there?
came out of what's up?
Were you saying IndyCar?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I was gonna say FBI. I didn't think they were American F1 teams, but no IndyCar. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, technically there is an American F1 team, Haas,
Haas, but yeah.
and Andretti's about to enter too.
Okay. Well, either way.
Um,
Um.
yes, yes. It's not a it's in the open. I guess it's okay, but it should be a private thing, and it shouldn't be shared because it should be private to your team. It shouldn't be
I think
shared
so.
with all the manufacturer's team. Well, screw that. You're racing for yourself. That's what
Yeah.
it should be at the end of the day. You're racing for you. Yes, your teammates can look at your stuff, but you're racing for you.
I think that's a
Your
deal
team does what's best.
that needs to be made between teams, essentially. I mean,
Yeah,
if 2311 and Joe Gibbs want to work together, great. But if
they
you
can
know,
agree themselves to share data between each other.
right, or Spire and Hendrick, but as far as this, everybody can see everybody else. I don't like that idea. But we've kind of talked that one into a corner here. So, um, Cup drivers today did get a fairly substantial practice, but do you figure that it's enough for qualifying?
No, no.
I don't think so either. I think there were a lot of people that were just using this to see how far they could go, pushing their cars to the limit. We saw a lot of
Yep.
spins. We saw a
Yes.
lot of people pushing the envelope, trying out the Joker lane. I like that idea. I like the Joker lane instead of driving down pit road. I think that's a much more appropriate penalty for hitting the yellow line.
Yeah.
Um,
I think they need at least 2 hours. Give me one practice session that's an hour today and one that's early tomorrow morning that's also an hour.
I would
And
agree
then
with
if you
that.
want to before qualifying, if you want your engines warmed up really good for qualifying, maybe right before qualifying have a group A.
Yeah, Group A and Group A uh, practice session. I like that idea. I also noticed, speaking about practice, I noticed that there was a really good crowd for practice there, and that surprised me because I mean, when we're in person at the racetrack, practice is pretty much dead. It's a good
Sorry,
opportunity for us to get pictures, but most people don't go.
sorry, I had to mute for
That's okay.
a person walking in. Um, Practice for them is also a little bit odd. I have a couple things to bring up in that category. One, they're used to F1 weekends where the practice sessions are huge. I mean, that's still a big event. People buy tickets just to go to practice so they're there, so they can see them. So your butt's on your seat if you own a ticket when they're $300 a pop.
I suppose.
Not gonna lie, I was about to say you're losing out a lot of money not using that ticket, or at least trying to sell it.
All right. I did not know that that's what
Second,
F1 tickets cost for practice.
Jeff Gluck made a great photo. He was sitting in a stadium section today for practice. Great section, by the way. Want to go there? Bucket list. If NASCAR goes to Mexico for the foreseeable future, will be on my list one day. But a lot of people, about 95% of the crowd, was not wearing NASCAR merchandise.
Hmm.
About half of the fans were wearing F1 merchandise, and about the other part was just wearing normal clothes.
Do you think that this is going to turn some of the folks down there into NASCAR fans?
Maybe.
If I
Let's say Daniel Suarez has a good run Sunday because he is going to get the most cheers. He is the technical
Absolutely.
hometown hero, you know. If
Absolutely.
he does good, yes, because that's a storyline that the home fans are going to eat up. But if the grace is great, it could, you know. But if we just get a regular road course race where it's kind of like got good parts, but a lot of it's just, racing around and stuff, and kind of just riding in between pit stops, you might not get a big crowd. But there is a good chance right here to pick up a huge Spanish population. I tell you, and it'll probably be posted somewhere next week. Find the Spanish ratings for this show, for this race this weekend. from Mexico. Find the TV ratings from Mexico. I
That'd be
bet you
good.
they're going to be huge. I bet you if it's like compared to like last week, I bet you it's going to be like 1,000% jump or something. I bet you it's going to be insane. It's probably going to have like 20 million viewers down there. Just watch.
Well, I'm gonna have to jump on mute here again in a second.
Oh, yeah, I recognized.
But yeah, but yeah, I mean, so uh, viewership will be up. If I was in charge of merchandise, which I'm not, but if I was, I would set 3 trailers up with only Daniel Suarez merchandise.
No, no. 2 with Daniel Suarez, 1 with Kyle Larson. I already know there's going to be Kyle Larson fans down there.
To be fair, I don't know that they sent merch haulers. Actually, now that I think of
I
it, in the
think
hauler
there's
parade,
a few.
yeah.
I think I saw something. Adam Stern, Jeff Gluck are both on ground for this event, and so is Bob Pockrass, if you want to know. So the big 3 are there. You know, usually sometimes Bob moves to IndyCar for a weekend now, or Adam Stern's at IndyCar, but they're all 3 at the Mexico race instead of in Gateway in St. Louis this weekend. So they've been showing stuff, and I think somebody said there was a fan zone with merch haulers.
That's cool.
I'm
I
pretty
was
sure.
surprised. Speaking of merch haulers, I was surprised at the Indy 500. I couldn't find the merch haulers.
Did you find the
found
fan zone?
one. I found just one, right by the entrance. There was
Did you find the fan zone?
no.
It was in the infield. Did you walk behind the Bogata?
We never went into the infield. That's why. Well,
That
anyway,
the fan zone at the Indy 500 is in the infield because the other half of the crowd's in the infield. But yeah, let's go.
yeah. Sorry, Craig. So anyway, in other news, altitude's going to play a factor for the drivers and the vehicles. We'll see how that turns out, and we'll report back. Probably not next week, but the week after. I think we're settling into this 2-week stretch deal. I think that's working really well for us. So that's all I've got for Mexico.
Sorry to interrupt and sorry to be quiet. Apparently that post about Jeff Gluck posting about the people that were not wearing NASCAR merch has been perceived as negative online.
Oh.
And Jeff defended himself. He said this is just an observation, which is just as though we saw it as well. But apparently people thought Jeff was slandering the Mexico fans because they were wearing F1 merch and not NASCAR merchandise, or just regular clothes instead of, how I would say, how we are and stuff. So
Yeah.
the crowd's a little bit different, and it seems like some people thought the observation of that was taken in a wrong light.
Interesting. They must not know Jeff much.
Yeah, because Jeff was just making an
Jeff.
assumption there. He was Jeff was just looking and saying, hey, this is a little bit different than our usual crowd.
Yeah,
That's all he was doing.
Here's an interesting piece of data for you folks. But yeah, I don't know. That's the world we live in, to be honest with you.
Here we go. I'm looking. Let's see. I found a little bit of just like a little bit of a thing, a little bit of fan zone photos he posted. This one looks like it's more or less food and just sitting around. Oh wait, they have a NASCAR Mexico City official merchandise hauler.
There we go.
It's like a tent. It's like a big tent. I'm looking. Hold on. Here's a photo of the inside. It's got Lucas Oil, Valvoline, Napa, Penzo, Menards, DeWalt, Castrol. Okay, so they bought a little bit of a spread. They bought a cool Mexico City shirt, which I would actually like to have my hands on. Hold on now. I will have to look around for that.
Are there restrictions on advertising? Is that why Kyle Busch wasn't able to say anything about bourbon or nicotine patches? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I thought that was an interesting observation.
No tobacco or nicotine sponsors, and then there were no bourbon that wasn't either produced in Mexico or over a certain percentage.
Interesting.
And I also want to make another observation about the Mexico City hauler, is that the other half of the hauler is Ross Chastain and Suarez merchandise.
Yeah, Team
with
Trackhouse.
A bunch of Kyle Larson cars.
Yep,
I will say, I'm going to
sense.
send you a screenshot. We will check this off camera. The Mexico City shirt is very nice, and I would like to have my hands on a copy, and I think you might too. It's very clean. Very,
we'll
very
talk about
clean
that.
shirt.
Talk about that in Victory
We will
Lane
have
here.
to find,
All right. Well,
Folks,
speaking of victory lane,
we have made it to the checkered flag, actually. You have won this week. You have made it to the end, and we are very grateful that you have joined us and listened to us ramble on about another week of sports before you go home this weekend or go on your work drive and you watch NASCAR on this weekend.
we do actually have one more lap yet. Actually, it's the white
Oh,
flag
did I miss?
for Cup, and that's just talking about last weekend's race at Michigan. I was just gonna say that I feel bad for Byron, both Byron and Carson Hocevar. I feel bad for Byron because he felt like he had two in a row there that he could have won, should have won, and then didn't win. And Carson
I think
Hocevar,
Carson,
same
yeah,
deal,
broke about
lost an
NASCAR's heart.
engine, lost a tire. You know, hometown guy. You know, for Michigan. But he's got promise, and he's going to win a race. We've said that before. He's going to win a race. It's just a matter of when. He's got more promise than Ty Gibbs. You know, I feel like you look at this conversation 2 years ago, people would have said, "Oh, Carson Hocevar, he probably should have gone to Xfinity. I don't think he's ready for Cup." Boom, he's ready for Cup. That's for sure. Those long legs, they can reach the gas pedal very well.
It feels like Dale Earnhardt trying to win the 500. It's like Kyle Carson trying to win a race.
Yeah. You're like,
It's like,
what
what
going to
heartbreak
happen?
can we find next?
Exactly. An engine goes out, which is funny because I thought that was interesting that people were complaining for the longest, or, specifically AJ Allmendinger was complaining about ECR engines. And, oh my gosh, what a bunch of malarkey. These engines suck. And then, well, who else are
All
you
of a
going to
sudden,
go with for Chevy?
Hocevar decides to explode.
Hendrick engines? Well, that didn't work out for Carson.
No.
Granted, it's lesser occurrences with the Hendrick engines. Man, at the worst time,
I know.
Like for anybody to lose an engine, it'd be like, oh no, Bowman lost an engine when he's running in 20th. Shoot, that's too bad. If it's got to be
From the
Spire,
lead.
Oh man, Justin Haley blew a motor in 27th place. Doggone it. Man, to be up front leading all day. And I suppose, when you push the engine, you blow the engine, but
then
gosh.
the flat tire.
Out of nowhere. Where did that come from? Yeah, I would have much rather that story ended in, well, he ran out of gas. Took a chance, went out on the edge, couldn't save enough gas. But blown tire out of the blue, sad deal. It's a real sad deal. So, absolutely, yeah. He would have pushed it, and, yeah. Well, and of course, Denny had to say his goofy line again. Oh, I beat your favorite driver. Who's that? All of them. Like, man, and don't say daddy. Please don't say daddy. That's not okay. That's, nope. Just say, hey, sorry, Dad, but I beat your favorite driver, which is a funny statement to have because you would think that your dad's favorite driver is you. But I don't know. maybe not for Denny's dad. All right. Well, now we have reached the checkered flag, and so we're so glad that you hung in there with us for this extended episode. That's okay. thought it was the checkered. There was white on that flag. So, all right. Well, thanks everybody. We're putting it in park for now, but from our part of the country to yours, we're so glad that you tuned in. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Goodbye.